Hello everyone and welcome back to another Minecraft update video. This is pre-release 1 for 1.20.2, which also comes bundled with some experimental changes. Specifically the villager trade rebalance, which is going into its second phase of tweaks and changes. But first of all, we're going to breeze through the changes in pre-release 1 and note that from here on out there will be bug fixes and tweaks, no new features with these pre-releases. And they are not limited to being released on Wednesdays, so like in the past, we're probably going to see a few pre-releases drop each week. First of all, a change to a feature that I really like, which is the recipe book. We've got leggings here on the page, and in the past, if we were to search for ing like that, we would have seen leggings, but now we only see words that start with ingot. Notice though that this is actually the second word in this example. So popped onto Hermitcraft, which is on 1.20, just to remind you of how this used to work. It would be any word that had the letters that you were searching inside of them. So you can see the iron ingots, you can see the leggings, and all of the other words. And the reasoning behind this was not to overwhelm new players, which I think is a good reason to make this change. As when you search, you're going to see less results naturally, but there is one more thing to mention. And that is that you can search for recipes that you are yet to learn. If we open up the crafting bench in this fresh world, this is the only recipe I know. However, when we go and start typing, you can see all of the other recipes appear as follows. So this is a great way for a new player to use this as a source of knowledge. Don't know how to craft a spyglass? Well, now you can look it up. So then you can go out and gather those materials, and then it will turn up inside the recipe book. The next change is a part of pre-release 1, it's a change to villagers and it complements some of the rebalancing experimental stuff we're going to see in a little bit, but it relates to the Cartographer and the maps that they can trade. I've got a few of them here, the Ocean Explorer map, and what you'll see is that there is a new icon for the Ocean Monument. Now I tried to get the Woodland Mansion one as well, but every single one of these that I traded with at the moment only seem to give me Ocean Explorer maps, and I have traded with a lot of them. I even teleported over here next to a Woodland Mansion on the hunch that they might tell you to go to the closest of those two structures. So what we can do is look directly at the assets of the game. These are the icons for the Woodland Mansion and the Ocean Monument. And this is how they're now going to look. And if we zoom out here, you'll notice that there are some additional icons too that have been added to the maps feature. We're going to be checking those out shortly. Now those icons are in the pre-release 1.20, but they're utilized by the experimental features. And another minor change to the villagers is their trades. The order in which they appear are now always going to be randomized because there was a case when they could be deterministic. Next up, we have a new game rule relating to Enderpearls. It's for an edge case when the player dies. There is this new game rule, Enderpearl vanish on death. It will be set to true by default, and demonstrating it in action is going to be rather tricky, but let me explain. When I throw an Enderpearl, we can see it moving through the world to the location that we get teleported to. And if the player just happened to die while this Enderpearl was traveling, you would see it continue to travel through the world. And because I'm in single player, you're just going to have to use your imagination. This game rule would simply mean that the Enderpearl would vanish mid-flight if the player got killed after they threw their Enderpearl and before they teleported. With the game rule, you have the option for the Enderpearl to keep traveling, I guess. Okay, I've just conducted some tests where I am changing the game rule, and then I am also killing myself after I throw the Enderpearl so that I can see the Enderpearl and then get teleported with I land, and there seems to be no change when using either of these game rules. Maybe this one has shipped out with a little bit of a bug that's stopping it from actually working the way it's supposed to. Anyway, I'm sure that'll get ironed out in the next pre-release. Also now occurred to me why this is a game rule, because of endostasis chambers, where you can keep an enderpearl in your world and activate it at a different point in time. So yes, the player will now have control over that functionality when it's correctly implemented. And heading over to the website, let's now breeze through the technical changes. The data pack version has been updated to 18. And with this, we have somewhat of a rarity. 2 commands are actually being removed. And this is because the bugs related to them are actually quite big and require a lot of work. And so they're going to be rolled out of this update and put into a future one. So we can expect to see these commands come back in a future update of Minecraft. And when it comes to bug fixes, you are going to see this word over and over again. That is untranslatable because there have been some discoveries of certain uses of characters inside of the game that weren't translatable. And so in pre-release 1, those things can be translated into different languages if needed. So that covers pre-release 1, and now we get to move on to the villager rebalancing. And just before we do, take a moment to subscribe if you haven't done so already, so you can catch all the future videos on Minecraft being updated. So then, now it's time for those experimental villager changes, and there's quite a few in this one. First of all, a reminder that this is a work in progress, and Mojang are listening to our feedback and looking for suggestions. They've even included a link to give them that feedback. It'll take you to this page here, and you can find a link to it in the description box down below. Now, the first set of changes is with the Cartographer. I've been doing some trades with some of them and getting my hands on these maps. You'll notice, though, the names of them: Plains Village, Desert Village, and the Jungle Explorer map. You might recall earlier in the video we saw some of these icons, and I've got some of these maps, so let's take a look. That right there is the Plains Village icon. Then we have the Desert Village, and the Jungle Temple is included as well. I have now travelled to that Jungle Temple, bred up some villagers, which were not here. I just used a villager egg, and I got my hands on 3 new map types: the Savannah Village, the Desert Village again, and the Swamp. Specifically, it will guide you to the Witch Hut. Now, this is all part of changes to use interactions with the villagers to help you navigate the world and find the different biomes that are related to the different villagers. So the desert will now link you to the savanna, the plains, and the jungle to the savanna, desert, and swamp, the plains to savanna and taiga, and as you can see, it goes on. So as you travel to these different locations, you can get different maps to different parts of your world. So in the previous rebalance, we had changes that made the different enchantments of books biome dependent, and Mojang have listened to the critique on this change and introduced maps as a way to get around your world and actually find those biomes and locations. The common critique that I read in my comments is that it's hard to find some of these biomes, it can take a long time, but now they've introduced a much easier way, and honestly, I think this is kind of fun. You now have a lot more reason to trade with the different types of villagers, and then they're going to help you navigate your way and make the task of finding all the different locations a lot easier. So if we go back to that image from earlier, you have the 5 different types of village, and then you have the 2 structures for the jungle and the swamp, and in total that makes for 7 new maps that they sell. Next up is the turn of the Armourer. I've been doing a lot of trading here, however I realised it's just easier to show you this with the images shared with us from Mojang. First of all, we need a reminder of the previous trades. So at the novice level, you could get yourself the iron armour straight off the bat. At apprentice level, you could be offered chainmail armor. With journeyman, you could trade in diamonds and you could get your lava bucket and a shield. And expert and master is where you got your enchanted diamond gear from. Now this has been changed pretty much top to bottom. You can see across all of the different biomes here at the novice level, the 2 trades that you get first are coal and iron for emeralds. At the apprentice level, you get offered your full set of iron, but you might notice some asterisks here. This is for chainmail. They just wanted to make it extra clear that there are certain villages you can get chainmail from. And that is the swamp villager and the jungle villager. And I think this is a really cool idea, because if Mojang can come up with a solution for helping the player breed new villages in these biomes, then you get a pretty awesome reward, as chainmail is now a lot rarer and exclusive to those biomes. So going back to our list, we have the journeymen, and this is where you can find the lava bucket, the bell, and the shield. Now let's zoom out for a moment, because all that sliding across was probably getting a bit confusing. There are 7 different columns here for the 7 different types of villagers. Now let's look at the expert level of trades here. The first one in the list is the desert villager, and you'll see that these are enchanted with thorns. This is where you can get your enchanted iron armor at the expert level. The master level gives you the same enchantment on diamond armor. You'll notice now that this also costs diamonds, and the final trade is to trade an iron block in for some emeralds. Now if you remember this image that was shared with us, the desert biome over here has the thorns enchantment linked to it. So the next one in the list is jungle, and that had unbreaking, feather falling, projectile protection, and power. And when we refer to this list, you can see unbreaking, projectile protection, and feather falling. So plains is where you get your protection books from. And so now an armourer at the expert level will offer you protection on those enchantments, as well as on the diamond gear too. Oh, and it should be noted for the swamp and the jungle, you get chainmail instead of diamond at the master level. Now the Savannah doesn't offer any enchantments that go on armor other than binding, and that's exactly what you see here, Curse of Binding, so an armourer in that biome is probably not going to be very desirable. Okay, then in the snow biome you can get Frostwalker, Aqua Infinity, and the same thing down at the master level on the diamond gear. The swamp is where mending is, and you'll get mending on all of these trades, which is pretty cool, but at the master level it's respiration and depth strider. And the Taiga biome is quite different. At the expert level there aren't any enchantments. You can actually swap your different pieces of diamond armor around for just 4 emeralds. And at the master level you can get them with the blast protection enchantment, and if you really want to you can trade in a diamond block for 42 emeralds. Now at first glance, these trades actually seem really well thought out to me. They feel like they balance the villagers and make them much more interesting to interact with and encourage you to go to all of the different biomes. That is a lot of traveling though, that's one problem that we might have. I think what the game currently needs is maybe an easier way, a more intuitive way to breed and move the villagers around, and then all of this stuff will link together really well. Now I know some of you are probably going to comment saying, what on earth, you now have to pay diamonds to get diamond gear? But I actually think this is a pretty cool way to nerf them, as you could just get them for nothing but emeralds. So now it's like a discount. You still have to go out there into the world, get your diamonds, but now you can get the armor cheaper if you choose to interact with the villagers. And it's stated here from Mojang that they wanted to make those diamond armor trades less useful at the start of the game, but more rewarding to players who have gone out there and spent some time collecting diamonds. But now in the early game, these armorers are going to be a great source of iron armor, shields, and emeralds. And so a reminder of these smaller details, that you can sell your iron blocks and get paid a lot of emeralds for them. The chainmail armor is only available in the jungle and swamp biomes, and that the Savannah armorer's cursed diamond armor is actually available at a cheaper price. But only in terms of emeralds. Maybe they could have lowered the diamond amount as well here. And lastly, with all of these changes, loot tables for certain structures have been tweaked. Also, yes, look at that, I found a bug. You now have a higher chance of getting mending from an ancient city, efficiency in mine shafts, at pillager outposts you can get quick charge, and in the desert and the jungle you can get unbreaking books. And that brings us to the end of those experimental changes. And before you tune out, I just want to let you know a couple of things. Over on my music channel, I uploaded a new song a couple of days ago. It's just a demo, but if you'd like to go listen to it, I'll put a link in the description box. And just yesterday, we had a brand new episode of Hermitcraft come out. If that interests you at all, go to the channel and check it out. But that's it from me in this video, so leave a comment, let me know what you think of the rebalancing, and leave a like to support the channel, and I'll see you again soon with another one. Bye bye.